So a little bit different today. We have an arm pump pretty early. Like it's about 10:30 right now. But, you know, we only had one prep period with this teacher today, so we're making the most of it. And this is you know, it's a pretty solid gym. You know, you got pretty much all the equipment you need for a good arm day. So anyways, we're about 2 sets in right now. We have upper forearm, lower forearm, rope, tricep push down, crazy eights, and some lying down hammer curls, which I'm a huge fan of. But anyways, we're about 2 sets in, so let's see how pump's looking so far. All right, so this has been a good arm day so far. Let's see how these sets go. All right, so we're doing this with cables, which is my first time doing it at this gym, and this is this is strange because this cable is, you know, it's interesting. You know, it's not like I'm just getting right over the cable and I'm doing my forearms like I usually would. You know, I have to kind of slant myself to make sure I get in the right position. But once you know what the right position is, then, you know, you can pretty much destroy any muscle. And I think that's the power of training. You know, you have to learn your own body so that you can, you know, really get the most out of your workouts. So this is interesting. You'll see in a second, but it's kind of an awkward position I'm in. This one's a little more strange. All right, let's hit some triceps now. Woo. Oh, yep, crazy eights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh. 3. Ooh. 5. Oh my God. Ooh. Yeah, that was freaking nasty. All right. So when I say these are weird, I mean, you've probably seen these before, but the way I have to set it up for this kind of a row is interesting because the foot pad is pretty far behind, or it's very much in front of the weights. And so I can't put my feet on the platform. I have to, You'll see in a second. I basically have to splay my legs out and then find some stability that way, just through planting my back into the pad. So you'll see, but this is weird, but strangely it feels freaking amazing. And I'll probably start implementing these. Oh, yep. Oh. Oh. 2. Oh my God. Woo. Yeah, so like I said, it's pretty weird, but I gotta almost like push my elbows up towards the ceiling to make sure that I get a good stretch and contraction out of the movement. So I don't know though. I'm very tempted to put these in my programming whenever I see hammer curls. So let's yeah, so if my coach is watching this, this may be thrown into the mix. But that being said, let's do 2 more giant sets of all 4 of those, and then we'll go do something else. All right, so we got lap curls, dolphins, Superman preacher curl, which is a very nice preacher curl, if I do say so myself. Not used to having a cable set up for that. You know, it's usually like a machine or dumbbells or I don't know. It's been really freaking nice. But anyways, let's get this going. We don't have too much time. Oh my God. Woo. All right, let's go. All right. Ooh. It's weird with this machine. The heavier you go, the smoother it is. Well, shouldn't say that. I haven't gone too heavy yet, but every set that I've been going heavier, the machine just moves a little more smoothly. So, interesting concept. Oh, yep. 2, 3. Oh. Oh my God. Woo. 1, 2, 3. Oh. 5. No. 8. Come on. 9. Yep. No. Oh. Woo. What's up, bro? Very big fan of this preacher curl. All right, this is a few hours later. It is, I think, man, we finished our workout at about 11:15ish, and it is almost 4, so five hours, something like that. But that is where we're at right now. But we're not done with working out just yet. We finished up at work, but now we get to go have some fun, get just some blood moving around with some lower body. But it's not gonna be like a crazy workout, because that would be counterproductive because we have legs tomorrow. So plan for today is just to get a little bit of blood moving. We're gonna be making sure that, you know, everything is growing to its fullest capacity. So that's kind of been my main jam lately is we have the bro split as our baseline, but you know, we work it in like Monday is back, Tuesday is arms, which was awesome today, Wednesday legs, Thursday chest, Friday shoulders. But nearly every day, you know, pretty much every day until I know my body needs absolute rest, like I'm just fatigued all over, more of like a systemic fatigue, that's the only time that I'm really gonna take it easy and just not do anything. I mean, sometimes not even cardio, just to make sure that my body's fully revamped. And that was a giant success earlier on. This was 3 days ago. Completely rested, didn't go to the gym, didn't do cardio. We only did even like one meditation session. We didn't even do both of them. But I came back and I was hungrier than ever. You know, not like a physical hunger, but definitely a mental hunger. It was definitely well needed, because I came back and I just felt completely revamped, like I missed it. You know, it's one thing to hit something every day, but then it's another thing, you know, if you're kind of in the same routine, not really feeling like you're branching off too much, and you know, it's almost like there's not enough adventure. You know, it's like a little too mundane, and I think that can have some detrimental effects, you know, because it's one thing to have big muscles, that's freaking cool, really cool, in my opinion, but, you know, also just, we're living life, you know, go live your life, go do whatever you want to do, you know, you kind of have basically unlimited options, you know. Now, you know, obviously money's a factor, but at the same time, go do your thing. Like whatever you want to do, try something new today, you know, just kind of expose yourself to the random, you know. It could literally be anything, like anything that you've kind of had in the back of your mind, like, that'd be interesting to try, but you haven't tried it yet. Why not? You know? So that's the plan for right now. We're just heading off, getting this like lower body slight pumpage in. It's gonna be, I mean, I only do like one set until kind of failure on all of these. I mean, or I should say very close to failure. On, you know, leg extension, hip thrust, leg curl, stiff leg deadlift, inner thigh machine, and calves, and then some tibialis as well. But that's just kind of to get the muscle stimulated. It's not to completely obliterate it, because that's also fun too. And I've noticed since I've been doing this every day, my recovery is just a lot quicker. Like I feel recovered a lot faster most of the time. So it's definitely something that I want to implement for the future as well. But I gotta say, this is a weird day because like right now I'm kind of tired. You know, I'm not usually having like morning workouts like I did this morning, like kind of like 10:30ish. Like my body just isn't used to it. I'm used to, you know, fasted cardio first thing in the morning, and then, you know, a little later on, that's when we hit our training session pretty hard. But yeah, so it's weird, you know. It's a different skill set, you know, just adaptability and being flexible with what your current schedule is, you know. Because my schedule, you know, since I also substitute teach, it changes every day. You know, I'm never like, all right, cool, this is my schedule for the next 6 months or whatever. It's literally new every single day. Now there are those jobs that, you know, I've done before, so I kind of know the routine, but even then, like I'm still like, you show up and they need you to cover another class, you know, it's just random. It's just, you know, it's like, it's very much up to whatever the day has. And that's what I kind of like about subbing, you know, even though it's just a job and, you know, my real passion is in coaching and being an athlete. You know, there are some perks to being a sub. You know, you get to create your own schedule. The pay is great. And it's just something new every day. And so that's what really draws me to it. You know, it's shout out to teachers in general, just regular teachers, because they, I mean, I know every class is going to be different, but you're teaching the same material. So, I mean, to do that for years on end, it's interesting. You know, it's a very, you know, it is what it is. And if your passion's there, then awesome. That's great. But yeah, so arm workout today, freaking amazing. I really enjoyed, especially that preacher curl with the cable at the very end. Oh my God, that was just icing on the cake. Like that, the way that it was set up, it was almost like I could just put my elbows, like it was like the height was perfect because I was doing kind of like a Superman position, so I didn't need the bench to be, you know, at like the perfect height, because I can kind of position myself into it. But it was just the way the cable pulled. Oh man, that was awesome. It was just freaking chef's kiss, like everything about it. I mean, it was like the way the weight pulled, you know, on the way up, it was just very, I don't know if you ever felt this, but like in the middle of an exercise, like you just know that the machine just feels right. Like it's hitting what you need to hit, but then at the same time, it's not really awkward in any way. Like it just makes sense. I guess that's the way that I can put it. Like it's like, it makes sense for my body. Like I guess that's a good way to put it. But yeah, other than that, everything else just went freaking swimmingly. Oh my gosh, like oh man, like those rope tricep pushdowns freaking hurt. That was nuts. I've really been enjoying doing that crazy 8 variation, and I've really been enjoying it for the most part when doing it kind of like with this, like starting with the squeeze portion, because if you think about it, like a rope tricep pushdown, that's meant to really squeeze, as opposed to like a skull crusher or like dips or like a close grip bench. You know, it's like those are more like you're trying to move a lot of weight. Like you're trying to, like, they're big like power movements, you know, like strength-based movements. Whereas with a rope tricep pushdown, I mean, there's not much else you can do other than to like just squeeze the living shit out of your tricep. That's like, so that was freaking awesome. I really enjoyed those rope tricep push downs. But yeah, man. I mean, other than that, I got asked the other day from an athlete I work with what my timeline is with competing next. And I mean, long story short, like my whole thing with competing right now is I'm kind of like in a pickle in terms of what I'm taking and which organization I can go into. So since I'm taking peptides, HCG and IGF-LR3, you know, in the natural organizations, they ban those substances. So you can't take those substances and compete there. You know, whether it'll show up on a drug test, that's another story, but that's on the ban list for natural organizations. Now, for the unnatural organizations, or just the organizations that don't drug test in general, that's where I'd like to compete. And it's interesting because I'm not taking anabolic steroids, so I'm kind of at a huge disadvantage when it comes to competing in that organization. And so it's interesting. Like, I'm in the middle of this. It's an interesting time. I don't know. So long story short, I basically need to jump the gun, start taking, you know, anabolic steroids, or, you know, I stick with the peptides, and then, you know, I take my chances with a drug test in a natural organization. But, you know, it's interesting, like, because all peptides are just a string of amino acids. So I'm very interested to see how they would test for that, because they're just amino acids. You know, it's not like they can really like pick out, oh cool, this string of amino acids looks a little different, or maybe they can, you know. So like it's interesting. Like I'd be very, you know, because with those two compounds, like HCG, it's just boosting my natural testosterone, and then IGF-LR3, all that's doing is just shuttling the nutrients a lot more efficiently because it rearranges the amino acid chain. So, I mean, it would be, I don't know. That's kind of the big question of the day for me. So, you know, I'm kind of at a crossroads right now, but I am just enjoying the process. I'm enjoying just getting freaking huge, doing it in a healthy way, and I don't know, just kind of combining having fun with life with bodybuilding. Because bodybuilding, when you're competing, if you want to do really well, that is your life. Like you have to be, you know, 100% all in, especially when you're on prep. Like I'd say like 20 weeks out and on, if you want to do really well, you got to be 100% dialed in. And that's why a lot of people kind of shy away from it, because it takes so much discipline. But man, for how much discipline there is, that's how many rewards you will reap. Not only, I mean, if you don't reap the rewards in terms of how well you do in your show, you're probably going to reap the rewards in other factors of your life. Like if you stay extremely disciplined on your nutrition, your training, everything like that, you're not only going to be really freaking healthy, but you're also going to have better habits in general. So if you're like, let's say, I don't know, you usually procrastinate at work on projects. You know, if you're kind of structured with your meal plan and your training plan, you're probably going to be a little more structured with how you do your work. So you're probably not going to procrastinate as much. Like it just spills into everything. I mean, literally everything. Even if you go, like let's say you're out with your family and they're like, what do you want to eat?
you know, like, you know, even if you have everything, you're still going to get back on plan. Like, you know, you're still going to be structured after that, because that's just your new normal. And so I think, you know, there's kind of this overall spilling over effect when you start competing in bodybuilding, and that's a little true for a lot of different sports. You know, you get a little more disciplined, and you just become more disciplined in other aspects of your life. I mean, even like students that I'll substitute teach, the ones who are in sports usually perform a lot better in class because they have to stay in the sport. Like, both, you know, like, their GPA has to be there, and then also, if their coach hears about one of their students not doing so well in class and, you know, acting a fool and all this stuff, you know, they're probably not going to want that student on the team. So there's a lot more at stake there. So even just something as simple as that they're not even following like strict nutrition or anything, or maybe they are. You know, every sport is different, every coach is different. But I mean, even just the training, like, they got to show up to practice, you know. So like, that's what I'm trying to say, is that kind of discipline really feeds into pretty much every aspect of our lives. So that's pretty much all I got to say. But anyways, this is a very long rant. I guess I'll see y'all in there for some lower body, and then we didn't get our fasted cardio in this morning, so we're going to be doing some cardio right after. But I'll see y'all in there.